the Mass Effect Legendary Edition finally got announced over the weekend.
Cool.
That is basically every piece of Mass Effect content made prior to Andromeda all in one package.
Okay.
Right, so every piece of Mass Effect content ever made.
Yeah. I mean,
Brad, are you excited?
what?
Is there like a cool pre-order bonus where I can put PB into all 3 games?
Don't say that out loud. That's just please.
How many cans of Dr. Pepper do I need to buy to get backwards guns?
I mean, I'll read the line from the BioWare blog post, but I feel like it is important to point some of this stuff out because the process of getting all of the Mass Effect content was such a mess, especially on PC prior to this. Like, some of that DLC was like hard to purchase or very expensive, even up to now. Mass Effect Legendary Edition will include single-player base content and DLC from Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, plus promo weapons, armors, and packs, all remastered and optimized for 4K Ultra HD. So all that stuff, because you remember they were straight up. I think it was at 2 that they were straight up like putting gun unlock codes in Doritos bags and shit like that.
Yeah, there was a bunch of fucked shit.
Maybe that was 3, I forget. But they went like full Call of Duty of like buy all this junk food to get all the Mass Effect stuff at some point.
And I did.
So did I. Because I'm an idiot.
So no multiplayer then? Single player.
I believe that is the case. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the way. The multiplayer in 3 was kind of cool, but
awesome.
it's not
awesome.
worth.
It's cool, but this would be way cooler if that was in there. There are a very devoted audience for that thing.
The thing was loot boxed up, man.
Well, yeah, but like they could design around that if they wanted to bring it back, but clearly they don't.
It came out in just like one of the worst times, like people just figuring out that loot boxes exist or that they could exist.
Yeah. Yes, that was early. Coming out in spring for Xbox One, PS4, and PC with, quote, forward compatibility and targeted enhancements on Series X and PlayStation 5. So.
Targeted. Okay.
Yeah, kind of a weird setup there, but.
Did you say PC as well?
Yeah, PC as well. And the rumors were, like I think Jeff Grubb has been reporting on this a good bit, that like they're rebuilding parts of Mass Effect 1 fairly substantially to try to bring it in line more with 2 and 3.
Cool.
I mean, they're taking the Mako out?
I don't know.
Hey.
I mean, one had all kinds of weird problems around like gear itemization stuff was weird and archaic and awkward and kind of useless. And
inventory system was
yes.
Didn't you get like hundreds of items?
Yes.
I barely remember Mass Effect 1.
Yeah, it's been a very long time, but like the combat is a little bit kind of clumsy from what I remember.
Yeah. I got that game. That was in a point in my life where I was kind of tuned out from gaming. I got that game for like $15 used from a GameStop and popped it in, not expecting anything, and it was tremendous. But like, I could totally see why if you were hyped about that game and bought it for full price, you'd be like, "This is a little whack."
It's
a lot of good ideas, cool story, but like not 100% on execution.
Mass Effect 1, I think for me was like it was good enough that you could look past a lot of that.
Totally.
Yeah,
I was
stuff.
So fucking hyped for that game. I was dying to play that thing when it came out.
It was great.
Totally,
like
totally.
For as clunky as it was, like even the Mako stuff, like it's fun to joke about it now, but like at the time, it was like a minor barrier.
Yeah,
it was like
I remember my Mako flipping over on a lava planet over and over again and just getting really mad.
Hey, that's all video games.
But like it was, the meat of BioWare games at the time was like story and characters and world building and all that stuff, and like you
weren't coming to it to be an action game the way like by Mass Effect 2 they had streamlined it to the point where the action felt more like a modern video game, whereas you were coming to Mass Effect 1 saying like this is going to be a BioWare RPG and it's kind of actiony. Yeah. So it was a lot easier to look past like how funky a lot of stuff was.
Totally.
But that's good, if they kind of correct some of that stuff to fall in line a little bit more with kind of modern expectations or what Mass Effect 2 and 3 did.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a
little bit easier to
I don't think that's some huge sin.
This is the one remaster that's on the books right now that is not the thing Jason said earlier where it's like you play it for half an hour and you're like, "Oh, that's cool. That's novel to see that looking and running better." For me, like it is the one remaster that I could actually see myself playing all the way through again. Like it's
ridiculous. Like you just think about raw hours of content that'll be in that thing.
It would take a long time to play through that thing, unless that's all you were playing. Especially with all the DLC. Like 2 got so much DLC. Yeah. 3 got quite a bit as well.
Will they I wonder, like, will Mass Effect 3 have a toggle for which version of the end game you want, like pre-patch, post-patch?
I doubt it.
No, they're just going to give us the worst
just
post-patch one.
Well, you just get the extended cut, and that's it, probably.
I would think that, like, if you really wanted to do justice to the franchise, I would think you would put in all of that stuff and let people see it. If you want it to be like archival quality or whatever,
sure,
where it's like,
sure.
hey, we want to
I
document.
don't think they want it to be archival quality.
I mean,
though.
it depends. It depends on who's making the decisions on that thing, for sure.
Yeah.
I could see somebody saying, like, yes, we should preserve all the history of this
They
thing.
should rewrite it again. Because if they are going to make a new Mass Effect game, they should just rewrite the ending again to leave it open for whatever the next game is.
Now I'm just envisioning on the box art just this big red sticker, like the laundry detergent style, that's just like, now with new ending.
Right.
Oh, boy.
And so that was the other part, right? They just casually were like, oh yeah, and we're making a new Mass Effect.
Yeah, like I can't remember if they have hinted at this in the past or if it was just rumors going around. Like, it has been rumored at some point somehow that this was happening, but yeah, they actually said it. Meanwhile, here
they made a point of
BioWare,
saying a veteran team.
a veteran team at BioWare has been hard at work envisioning the next chapter of the Mass Effect universe. We are in early stages on the project and can't say any more just yet, but we're looking forward to sharing our vision for where we'll be going next.
So, do you think you play as the kid from the like, tell me another story of the Shepard?
I don't know.
Like, it's just like that kid is now grown up and. No, I don't know.
I play as the elusive man.
I don't know. What do you do with Mass Effect at this point?
You forget Andromeda happened, and you try to make a game that
I don't think the
I think they're probably going to treat it like Star Wars, where it's like, okay, we have the core Mass Effect games, but then also like Mass Effect is a universe. Like Mass Effect can be weird other stuff. I hope they get weird with it. Like, you know, I hope they might consider doing just like, let's make a Krogan game, or, you know, let's like just do some like, it doesn't have to be you're the human uniting and saving the galaxy. Like, you have a lot of really cool species. You have a lot of cool locations.
The big hurdle is the end of Mass Effect 3. A, you have to decide like which of those endings was the ending that happened. B, like this whole state of the galaxy was so fundamentally changed at that point potentially that, like, you know, I don't know where you go from. I mean, granted, they kind of they walked some of that stuff back with the extended cut. You know, like they kind of fixed some of the things that, because, you know, originally they blew up all the mass relays, which basically like shuts down the Mass Effect universe at that point, and they at least walked that stuff back. But yeah, you either have to make a prequel to take advantage of all the cool stuff that was going on, or it has to be something very different post Mass Effect 3, right?
I think you make a game that's like 300 years later, or just like you do something that's like that treats the events of Mass Effect as ancient history.
Yeah, that's
lore.
Yeah, that's probably the way to go.
Like Shepard has restored the universe. He's this like legendary figure, but like
a statue of his ass that if you played the Legendary Edition, it's your Shepard.
Yep.
And they do
maybe like the spawn of Shepard is a bad guy now, and you're like finding that out. You know, there's a lot. Yeah, I think that's actually a really good idea. I think setting it post, because like that gives you time to develop like the relation, like how are the relations between the Krogans and the whatever, like, you know, Garrus's people, like, in 300 years.
Exploring like interspecies political tension was something that series was always really good at, so it'd be cool to see them do that. But like what is your big bad? Like, how the fuck do you follow up the Reapers as a like primary antagonist for a Mass Effect sequel? Because like those things were by design like straight up cosmic horror, you know? It's like those things were already like unknowable, all powerful villains. Like,
what if you take it in a direction of just like it comes from us, like we are, you know, like you have some fascist allegories or something like that.
That might actually be the right approach, something like that for sure.
But like that's
I think you're right. You can't get like you can't have an even crazier alien species than the
totally.
And then you throw in like one line of dialogue that's about the Andromeda crew, because they're like a billion, they're super far away doing God knows what. You know, you could even be said at the same time, because how many hundreds of years did it take for them? Because they leave before the end of Mass Effect 3. But don't get where they're going for like hundreds of years,
600 years later or something like that.
So like they don't matter. Who cares? You said it sometime after that, and
they're like too far away to interact with anyway.
Yeah. So you could still do that game, and then maybe have like you find a computer. if you find a computer that has details of the Andromeda crew as they were leaving, you're like, man, whatever happened to these fucking guys? No, who cares?
The computer glitches out as you're trying to read it.
Exactly. Yeah,
it's corrupted.
God,
you have to walk up to the back of the computer to get it to work.
God, they totally, if I remember right, they totally just like blew up one of the colony ships that was supposed to arrive there in like one of the DLCs. Like they just wrote a little line of throwaway dialogue at the end of Andromeda that was just
Poochie
like,
died on the way back to his home
like,
planet.
the Quarian ship didn't make it. I guess we're not going to see them after all. There's like so much stuff in that game that went unresolved because they never made any of the DLC for it.
They wouldn't. I mean, I think they were right to cut and run from it, though. Too like it's not like doing more DLC would have suddenly fixed that thing.
Yeah. Anyway, I
don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, man. I think re-releasing Mass Effect is a solid idea, right?
Totally.
You know, like, hey, these were good games. Yeah. If they get touched up the right way, that'll be really cool.
Yeah, so they actually they don't really say exactly how much they're touching them up. I mean, they do. There is a line. Hold up. Where did my window go? Oh crap! I closed the window. Sorry. Give me a second.
4K assets, at least. You know.
For many months now, our team at BioWare has been hard at work updating the textures, shaders, models, effects, and technical features of 3 enormous games. So our goal was not to remake or reimagine the original games, but to modernize the experience so that fans and new players can experience the original work in its best possible form. So I don't know exactly how much they are doing.
So it's not going to end with you fighting an alternate universe Sephiroth.
Well, no, that's the best possible form. So of course it'll end with that.
How could it not?
But like this also gives them an opportunity if they pull this off and it comes out and it's good. It's like it's their only shot at like cleansing the timeline or whatever, right? And then they get to make whatever. They went and announced it already, so I guess they're going to do it either way. But like the path to a proper new Mass Effect, it can only run through getting people to feel good about Mass Effect again.
For sure.
Yes, and re-releasing those games in a good.
That starts with letting people play Mass Effect 1 and 2 again. So yeah, I will watch this stuff more closely than I probably should because Mass Effect still holds a place in my heart. Unlike most, I
bought all those jackets right before Mass Effect 3 came out, and then we got Mass Effect 3 in, and then as I was playing it, I was like, I'm not going to wear these jackets anymore.
Oh, man.
I think this is an easy win for BioWare. Who needs a win? You know, like Andromeda's was what it was. Yeah. Like nobody knows what's up with Dragon Age. They need like to just get back in the good graces.
For sure.